Thinking about making the move out west from Ontario? What if I told you that there is a city in Alberta that is perfectly placed, it has a ton of lifestyle perks, and it is super affordable, and it's not named Edmonton or Calgary? In this video, I'm going to show you why more and more people are making the move to Red Deer, Alberta, and why this city might surprise you in the best possible way. From real estate prices to lifestyle, and this city is poised for massive growth in the future. We're going to break down everything you need to know before making the move. All right, let's get right into it. Let's talk about Central Alberta and kind of the geography and location of Red Deer. So I had two people call me. Actually, let me rephrase that. There's a lot of people looking to move to Alberta from out east. Yesterday, I had 8 calls from people out east. 2 conversations that really stood out to me, and this has been a common question I've been getting quite a bit from people. So one fellow was in Manitoba. He wants to move out east because he's sick of the geography in Manitoba. Apparently it's fairly bare. There's not a lot of trees. He called it having a lot of tundra. So he wants to make the move out west because he thinks the province out here, the country, it's beautiful. Another fellow called me from Eastern Ontario, and he lives in an area that has tons of beautiful trees and forest. So he wants something similar out here in Alberta. He doesn't want an area that's kind of flat and full of farmland. So when you're looking at central Alberta, you have Red Deer that's kind of the central hub right in the middle on Highway 2. So Highway 2 is the major highway in Alberta. It runs north to south, and it basically divides central Alberta in east and west. So kind of a general rule of thumb, and this isn't obviously a hard rule, but as a guideline, when you're east of Highway 2, east of Red Deer, that's when things start to flatten out a little bit more. So you get out into the Stettler area, that's when you really start to notice it. You get into a lot more flatland, farms, lots of water and sloughs. Then you get into Drumheller and it really gets flat. However, when you go west of Red Deer, that's when you start getting into a little bit more rolling hills. You're starting to find quite a bit more trees. And obviously, when you get to the far west side of central Alberta, you get into the Canadian Rockies. Now, if you're considering making that move to Alberta, I think Red Deer really shines because of the location that it's in. So if you check out a map, you'll see that Red Deer is literally the halfway point between the 2 biggest cities in the province, Edmonton and Calgary. So we're 145 kilometers away from Calgary, and we are 155 kilometers away from Edmonton. So in just over an hour, you can be in any one of those cities. Now, if you're coming from Ontario, you have lots of beautiful lakes. I heard it's beautiful out there. I've never been out there myself. We are not really well known for having a lot of nice lakes here in Alberta. Lots of the times, the lakes that people consider nice in Alberta, they're more of like a big slough. So you're definitely going to be trading off some of those beautiful lakes when you move out west here to Alberta. However, one of the best lakes in the province is Sylvan Lake, Alberta. This is a huge tourist attraction in the province. So the town itself only has about 18,000 people, but in the summertime, you'll see 1 million people visit the town of Sylvan because the lake really is that good. So this is a legit lake. It is a great lake town. And I bring this up in regards to Red Deer because it is only 15 minutes straight west of Red Deer. So not only are you central to Edmonton, to Calgary, you're only 15 minutes away from one of the best lakes in the province. And then when people are moving to Alberta, they think about the Canadian Rockies. That is Alberta's claim to fame, and they're absolutely beautiful. I think a lot of us here in Alberta, we actually take it a little bit for granted. I definitely don't get out there as much as I'd like to. But living in Red Deer, it kind of puts you close to everything that is going on within the province. So Edmonton, Calgary, Sylvan Lake, and the mountains, you can be there within 2.5 hours to Banff and Kananaskis and all the more popular places. Very easy day trip, easy to head down on the weekend. And what a lot of people don't know about is that straight west of Red Deer, you go about an hour and a little bit past Rocky Mountain House. You get into the mountains out there and a place called Nordegg, which has absolutely fantastic hiking and is a beautiful place. Lots of people head out there. They go camping, they go hiking, they go fishing. So you don't have to go to those more popular spots. Nordegg isn't that far, and you just go straight west of Red Deer. So one of the reasons why Red Deer is so popular is because of its central location, and it is so close to everything. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos and they do bring you some value. If you would like any help making the move here to Red Deer, the central Alberta area, I am a realtor. Use this info popping up. Would love the opportunity to earn your business. All right, back to the video. Let's get into the real estate market and the growth in this city. Now, before we get into the real estate prices and the real estate market, let's talk about the growth and all the projects and the development that are taking place in Red Deer and why I think this city is positioned to grow the most out of all the cities in the province over the next few decades. So we have a ton of major projects taking place in Red Deer right now, more than I have ever seen in my entire time living in this area, and I've been here since 1998. So just to touch on some notable projects, and I've done an entire video on this. You can go up here or here, we'll link to it, you can watch it, we'll put it down in the description below. But starting off, we have our airport expansion, which is in the third phase right now. It is just about completed. This is going to be absolutely huge for the area. Anytime you increase transportation lines around an area, it's going to make it that much more attractive for people looking to move here. So the airport has gotten a huge facelift, $30 million. It's increasing passenger flights, cargo flights, and in the future, they've added the infrastructure for potential international flights. So this is going to be huge for the entire central Alberta area. Now, I'm sure everyone has heard this. We have the biggest hospital expansion taking place in Alberta Health Services history. The Red Deer Hospital has needed expansion for an extremely, extremely long time. So it has been overworked. There's so many people that come from around the area, plus all the citizens within the city itself. And I used to work on the ambulance, and there's been many times where I've seen wait times in ER, and I'm not even kidding here, up to 14 hours. So if you're going to emerge in Red Deer, man, make sure it's for something that's actually worth going to emergency for, but expect to be waiting quite a while because Red Deer needs this hospital expansion. So this hospital expansion is going to reduce wait times big time. It's going to make it so much better in that emergency room. So they're going to expand the emergency room. They're adding a cardiac catheterization lab, which is going to be huge for patient outcomes. And they're adding 200 more inpatient beds. So that's going to allow a lot more people to get out of emerge, get up into a bed, and reduce those wait times. Plus, they're adding a bunch of other stuff. We're not going to talk about it in this video, but that $1.8 billion hospital expansion, not only is it going to be great for the population of Red Deer, the patients that go there, it is going to create thousands of jobs just to build it, as well as thousands of jobs after it's all done. And this is supposed to be done by 2030 to 2031. Now, we have a ton of residential developments taking place. Some of the major ones that I think are going to have a huge effect on the city is the Capstone development. So this is part of the downtown revitalization effort. This is an area that's down in the Cronquist Business Park. In my opinion, this is going to be an area, once it's completed, that you're not going to find anywhere else in Red Deer. So this is all affordable, modern townhouses, apartments, condo buildings, and it's down in a very walkable area surrounded by tons of great shopping, breweries, markets. And one of the coolest perks of living in this area is that it's right on the river. So you can get affordable living up on the riverfront in Red Deer without having to break the bank. Now, we also have the Haslet Lake development, which is the first residential development that is taking place on the north end in over a decade, and it's part of a bigger project called the North of 11A project. So this is going to be huge. We have all the new builds going up in Evergreen, Laredo, down on Liberty Landing. Last year, housing starts were up 93% in the city. So far in 2025, we are up 13%, which is more than it was last year. So I expect that we are going to outpace last year's housing starts, even though last year was a fantastic year. We have a $240 million flour mill going up in Springbrook. We also have a $75 million state-of-the-art, first of its kind dairy processing plant going up by Blackfalds. So investors are looking at this stuff and their eyes are this big. I've had a ton of investors reach out to me lately. So in Calgary, the prices have gone up so far, they've gone up so much that it's getting tough to invest in that market. It's tough to find cash flow properties. Now, Edmonton is great for investing. I think a lot of people have realized that. A lot of people have been investing in Edmonton for a long time. And I don't know when the peak of that market is going to hit, but I expect it's going to be, relatively soon. In my opinion, Red Deer is an untapped market and people are just starting to discover it. So this is starting to become a hotbed for investors. Now, if you're moving from Ontario to Alberta, you are probably moving here. One of the reasons is definitely going to be affordability. Our house prices in Alberta are significantly more affordable than they are in Ontario. Now, if we look at our four major markets, we have Edmonton, Calgary, Red Deer, and Lethbridge. Edmonton and Calgary are more of an apples to apples comparison, and then Red Deer and Lethbridge are more of an apples to apples comparison. So if we just look at the markets between them, I've already told you that over the last few years, Calgary's real estate market has gone bazonkers. You've seen that median detached price go up a metric crap ton. So at the time of making this video, the median detached price in Calgary is sitting at around $723,000. That is starting to get up there compared to what it was just 3 years ago. Now, if we look at Edmonton, Edmonton is sitting for a median detached price around $520,000. Now we start to look at Central Alberta, the Red Deer area compared to Lethbridge. Right now, Red Deer is sitting at $453,000 at the time of making this video, and Lethbridge is a little bit more affordable. The median detached price there is sitting at $432,000. So Red Deer and Lethbridge are pretty comparable, and they're still extremely affordable. You can get into a beautiful detached home for around $450,000. And when I'm talking about $450,000, this is a fully finished home. Your basement is finished. You can have an attached garage at this price, and you still have a decent sized yard. Now, most people, when they're comparing places to live, they're either looking at Edmonton or Calgary. Although we're having a lot of people call us from Calgary lately looking to move to Central Alberta because it's more affordable. A lot of times they're comparing Red Deer versus Lethbridge against each other. So both very similar cities, same size. It really comes down to the location, the geography of what you're going to experience in the province. So there's going to be a little bit more trees, a little bit more hills in Red Deer. Lethbridge, it's got some really cool geography down there. You got the coulees, but it's going to be a lot flatter and less trees. One of the things that I hear people talk about all the time in Lethbridge, I'm actually heading down there in the next couple of weeks to shoot a video for you guys, but I heard that it is extremely windy down there all the time. When I get down there, I will let you know if that's true or not. So when you're trying to decide between the two cities, think of the geography, think of the weather. It's going to be a little bit warmer down at Lethbridge, but I think the biggest thing when it comes to Red Deer versus Lethbridge is the location. In my opinion, Red Deer has a better central location. You are just closer to everything that is, in my opinion, important within the province of Alberta. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Now, if you're thinking of making the move from Ontario to Red Deer in the central Alberta area, there's probably two big questions that you have. One is, what are the most popular industries for employment out here? Which ones are going to give me the most opportunity to find a job if I need to find a job when I make that move? And number two, what does that cost of living look like out here? Now, when we're talking about the best industries for employment, again, link it up here. I made an entire video on that, so go ahead and watch that one. But Red Deer and the central Alberta area is very blue collar. So, if you're in the trades, we already talked about how construction is booming out here. We're already on pace to beat last year, and housing starts last year were up 93%. If you're in the construction and trades industry, it is a very busy time out here, and you should most likely not have any trouble finding a job in that industry. We also have one of the best trades colleges in the province called Red Deer Polytechnic. Or Polytechnique, I'm not exactly sure how that's pronounced. So if you're looking to get started in industry, Red Deer is just a great spot for that. Now, one of the biggest industries in Red Deer is the healthcare industry. We already talked about the $1.8 billion hospital expansion. Even without that expansion, healthcare is huge in Red Deer. So once that's complete, it's going to be off the charts. So if you're a nurse, doctor, you do anything within the healthcare system, there is a lot of work here, lots of seniors living, extended care, lots of opportunity for employment in that area. And then of course we are in Alberta, so the oil and gas industry is a backbone here. Everybody knows that. There's lots of stuff in the news lately in regards to politics and Alberta's oil field. So Red Deer is no different. We have a huge oil and gas industry here. Some other industries that are very notable are social services, very big in the city, agriculture. And what a lot of people don't realize about Red Deer's strategic location is it makes it an ideal hub for companies to set up shop and their headquarters for manufacturing and transportation. So we have easy access to the entire province because we're located right along Highway 2. We're right in between Edmonton and Calgary, and we also have very easy access to the entire side of Western Canada. So again, very blue collar. We do have our tech and our IT stuff here, but you're gonna have a better opportunity finding a blue collar job here in the Red Deer area. Now let's get into cost of living. We already talked about the price of a detached home here. So median price of a detached home at the time of making this video is right around $450,000. That is super affordable. Now, if you are making the move or thinking of making that move from Ontario out to Red Deer, the central Alberta area, you've probably been looking into things and you're probably already aware of this, but just in case you're not, let's talk about it again. In Alberta, this is for the entire province, we don't have any provincial sales tax. So you're only going to be paying GST, and on a home that's a resale, not a brand new home, there is no GST. We also don't have any land transfer tax here. So this is going to save you thousands of dollars, especially if you're coming from Toronto where you pay land transfer tax to the city as well as to the province. So we have zero land transfer tax in Alberta. It's going to save you a ton of money. This is amazing. Now, when it comes to property taxes, at the time of making this video, you're going to pay about 0.99% of the assessed value. So I should have did this math in my head before I put this on a video, but I think on a $500,000 home, that puts you roughly around $4,900 per year, so close to the $5,000 mark. Now, from talking to people that have made their way out from Ontario, I do think it is going to be a little bit higher here, so that is something to consider. But you're saving a ton of money again on the cost of your home, less than half, if not more. No PST and no land transfer tax. Now, when it comes to insurance out here, whether it's auto or home, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Most people will say that when it comes to auto insurance, I've heard a lot of people say that their auto insurance is less, but when it comes to home insurance, for the most part, I think most people will be paying more out here in Alberta, as well as when it comes to utilities. It seems like our utilities, our gas, electricity, are definitely going to be a lot higher out here, but make sure you shop around, get lots of quotes. There is a huge difference from broker to broker, and it can save you a ton of money. But one thing we always enjoy out here in Alberta is that we have the best gas prices. So at the time of making this video, I think we are around $1.17, which is really nice. Gas prices have been high over the last few years. And man, when you do lots of driving like I do, it can really hurt the piggy bank. All right, now let's talk about the lifestyle and the culture out here. Now, to start off with, we already talked about how Red Deer is very blue collar when it comes to its industries. It's also very blue when it comes to politics. Now, I don't want to talk too much about this stuff. I'm Switzerland. I don't care if you're left or right or whatever your political views are, but I think it's important to know, the political culture of a place that you're moving to. In the last election, Red Deer had a landslide victory for the Conservatives. And I'll throw up some stats here. You can see, exactly the difference in numbers. But it is very conservative in this area. So if you are making the move here, just be aware of that. Now, the culture here is very, very laid back. If you're coming from the GTA, you're probably used to being extremely busy. You're spending lots of time in traffic, or other parts of Ontario, you're spending a lot of time commuting. Red Deer only has 100,000 people. Even during our busiest times in this city, you can get from one side to the other in about 20 minutes. It's very, very low stress. When you head downtown, it's not like you gotta keep driving around the block to find a parking spot. It's very easy to find a parking spot. You're not gonna get stuck in traffic. There might be a few spots in the city that might add, a couple minutes to your commute before work and after work. But for the most part, very low key, very low stress. People here are super friendly. That's one of the biggest things that I hear people talk about when they move here, is how people are always chatting them up when they go to get coffee or they go to get groceries, and they love it. Red Deer is a big city, quote unquote, a big city for Alberta anyways. Again, the third largest in the province, but really it just feels like a big town to me. Now, talking about the lifestyle, one of the biggest things when it comes to the lifestyle in Red Deer is all of our beautiful parks, our beautiful nature, our river valley. This is one of the things that surprises people the most. Red Deer is an extremely green city. So again, most of the time they're driving by Red Deer from Edmonton to Calgary. And when you're driving by Red Deer, you go through Gasoline Alley on Highway 2, and then you might see a little bit parts of the west side of the city from Highway 2 as you continue on to Edmonton or Calgary. And people who make these comments that Red Deer is just a gas stop between Edmonton and Calgary have never actually been into the city. So again, I just talked to a fellow actually from BC yesterday, and he drove through Red Deer. He wanted to do an exploratory visit before he decided to start investing in the area, and he was absolutely blown away. He could not believe it. So Red Deer is really well known for its river valley. You can go for days and days and never come across the same trail or path twice. So we have, and I'm not going to name them all because there's so many, but some of the more popular parks that we have along our river valley are Heritage Ranch. This is absolutely outstanding area. Just that park itself, you can sit there all day. It's great for picnics. You can go fishing down at Mitchell Pond. There's these stairs there that are absolutely brutal. If you just walking up them is tough. But if you want to be one of those psychos and you want to sprint up them, go nuts, fill your boots. But you can walk from Heritage Ranch. You can take the pedestrian bridge. You can go down to Bower Ponds, which is also a super popular area in the summertime. So it's right along the river. There's a huge playground for the kids. You can rent these pedal boats on a hot day. This is a place where you're often going to find people kayaking and stand-up paddle boarding. This is also where you're going to find Canada Day celebrations and fireworks. They have live music. They have the Bower Ponds Pavilion there. So now if you do have a dog, you are going to love living in Red Deer. This is a dog lover's paradise. So we have two major dog parks. So one is on the south end, it's called Oxbow's Off-Leash Dog Park. nice dog park. I used to go there all the time when I lived on the south end. Gets the job done, but we do have one of the nicest dog parks in the country called 3 Mile Bend. So if you do have a dog, or even if you just want to go down there and check out the nature, make sure you head down to the 3 Mile Bend Dog Park. It is absolutely beautiful. It's tucked in along the river on the north end of the city. Again, this is one of the nicest dog parks in the country, and that is not an overstatement. And we also have this new place that opened up. It's called Sally's Play Center. It's got an indoor, outdoor dog park. There's a park for the big dogs as well as the little dogs. There is just tons of stuff there for dog lovers. They serve food. They serve beer from one of the craft breweries in town. So super great experience. This is an absolute dog lover's paradise. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about all of our different parks. This whole time you should have been seeing a lot of beautiful drone footage of the area. Just know that Red Deer is really well known for its nature and its outdoor activities. Now, if you are making the move from Ontario, you are probably going to want to know what are some of the downsides of living in Red Deer. Now, Red Deer does have all of the bigger box stores, obviously. We have Lowe's and Home Depot and Winners and HomeSense and all that stuff that you would expect, but we don't have some of the bigger amenities that you're going to find in the city. For example, things like IKEA. So if you do want to go to IKEA, you're going to have to go up to Edmonton. But the nice thing about Edmonton, though, is that IKEA is on the very south end of the city. You don't even really have to go into Edmonton, so you can be at IKEA in just over an hour. So depending on your taste and what you're looking for, we could be missing some of the amenities that you might like to see. Now, we do have some longer winters here. So winter will start right around Halloween, so the beginning of November, and it goes till roughly the end of March. Winters are manageable here. I hear a lot of people from Ontario tell me that because of our dry climate here, the temperatures here feel much more manageable and much warmer than the same temperature, even a lower temperature out in Ontario, because it is so humid out there. They tell me that it chills them to the bone. So here, temperatures throughout the winter are going to range from -5 to -15, but we will have our cold snaps. So every year we're going to have 1, 2, possibly 3 cold snaps where you're going to see temperatures dip below -30, and then sometimes they're going to dip below -40.
I can't stand it. I'm freezing to death.
The biggest complaint that I hear about wintertime here in Red Deer in the central Alberta area is that they last for so long. So when lots of places out in Ontario, you know, that winter's going away, you're seeing that springtime come a little bit earlier. It's going to hang around a little bit longer here in central Alberta. And finally, just like every city in Canada or pretty much North America, we do have our homeless population, which is mainly concentrated in the downtown core. This is where our homeless shelters are in the safe injection site. And then there's another homeless shelter right across the river in one of the neighborhoods on the north side of Red Deer. Now, when you go online and you read about Red Deer, it's going to make it sound like, again, I think I talked about this in the last video, this very crime-ridden city. You're going to see reports how Red Deer is one of the most dangerous cities in the country. Again, I don't think that the crime stats and the crime articles give the whole context of the situation here in Red Deer, but we do have a homeless population downtown, and there's certain neighborhoods that may be a little bit more sketchy than others. Just like every city, again, just make sure you're living in the right area, and if you're not looking for trouble, you're not going to find it. I spend a lot of time downtown shooting videos, and I mean, I don't ever feel unsafe. I love our downtown core. I think Red Deer's downtown has a lot of character. It's got the Ross Street patio. It's got cool places to have coffee and all these different types of shops. And it's not like it's overrun with homeless people, but it is definitely something to be aware of. All right, I hope this video answers some questions for you. If you are thinking of making that move from Ontario to Red Deer, Alberta or Central Alberta, if you have any more questions or you would like any help making the move here, use this info popping up. Give me a call. I'm a licensed realtor in the area. Would love the opportunity to earn your business.